Yo. So, a couple weeks ago, I ended up in the emergency room for what I thought was a heart problem because it was coming from my heart. But now that I've apparently fixed it, I don't think it was a heart problem anymore. The ER didn't say it was a heart problem, they just said it was premature atrial contractions. Um, but as I dug into the research, it's more like an electrical problem. Like it's not getting the right signal. For me, specifically, it was more like my nervous system because I was taxing the shit out of it with. I kind of screwed up my electrolytes with workouts outside, sweating way more than normal, like in the sun and stuff. Like I started working out like in my back little patio area, so sweating way more than normal, messed up my electrolytes, which are like the things that kind of transmit electricity around your body or in your brain or um, but on top of that, way more than 800 milligrams of caffeine a day. I know it's not a good idea. I know it's really stupid. It just creeps up. Like if you're trying to do shit at work or you're trying to do shit anywhere and you're tired and you can, like, you have to get these things done. You have to do this stuff. And you're like, all right, I'm going to grab an energy drink. Or in my case, way cheaper than energy drinks are like I don't know if you've ever seen them. You'll see like the cheap alternatives to like the 5 hour energies. I think they're made by Stacker. It'll say like B12 Extreme or whatever. They're still just caffeine with a shitload of B vitamins. Or you'll see the Stacker pills, which is even cheaper than those little shots. Because I think from Dollar General, you can get like 20 of those little pills, which just have like 5 or 6 different energy-based ingredients in them. And they might have 150 milligrams, 250 milligrams of caffeine, and a bunch of other shit. But it'll be like 20 of those pills for $5. So if you want energy on the cheap, that's a better way to do it. It's a way cleaner feeling than a lot of the energy drinks. It lasts way longer than the energy drinks. And I think it's way more predictable. They're probably regulated better than a lot of the energy drinks. Anyway, that's why I think I ended up in the ER. Just a combination of a few different things. Me being an extremist, like I can definitely, like if I'm supplementing with something, they'll be like, 5 to 10 grams, and after I'm at 10 grams for a while, I'm like, well, if 10 grams is good, 15 might be a little better. Let me see. Some people do 15, or like vitamin D supplementation. Most people 5,000 international units a day. I'm like, well, I've seen research people talking about doing 20,000 a day. I'm like, let me learn about that. Definitely don't do that unless you get blood work and shit, so you know where your levels are. But yeah, it was a nervous system / electrolyte issue / made worse by massive caffeine intake. So I've been tapering caffeine. And then it made me think about, like, aside from the energy, which I think will actually be much better overall if you get to zero caffeine, I remember some research about if, like, people who drank 2 to 3 cups of coffee per day, specifically coffee, not like energy drinks and shit like that, they had it was some crazy reduction in possibility of Alzheimer's. I don't remember the exact number. Don't quote me on it, but I feel like it was like 20-30%, something like that, like overall. And it might have just been one study. Either way, it stuck in my head. And I was like, well, I don't want to cut coffee. I would usually only have like 1 cup in the morning. But in my head, I was thinking the benefits come from caffeine. Turns out they don't actually come from caffeine at all. They come from polyphenols, which are natural plant compounds that fight inflammation and protect your cells. And coffee is probably one of the biggest sources most people get of polyphenols because most people don't have a healthy diet. A lot of people drink coffee. So either way, they're inadvertently, fighting Alzheimer's by drinking a shitload of, like my boss at work, 76-year-old man, That fucker drinks coffee all day. Like, he's got just a little styrofoam cup that he refills all day. Like, and that coffee is strong coffee. If you ever have that shit, and it's just from the water out of the tap. You know what I mean? Like, he zero F's, bro. He's got like his Maxwell House or whatever it is in the massive thing that comes from Costco, and he mixes it with tap water, and it's in a coffee maker that probably is 25 years old, that's been washed like 2 times ever. Yeah, like, he just drinks that shit all day until he switches to Coca-Cola at like 3 p.m. or something like that. And then it's Coca-Cola still has caffeine, but I think it's like 46 milligrams per 12 ounces or something like that, which is about the same amount of sugar it has. I think it has like 45, 46 grams of sugar. But anyway, so the polyphenols, the star of the show in the polyphenols is called chlorogenic acid, which can cross the blood-brain barrier and fights the amyloid plaque buildup that leads to Alzheimer's. Another one that's in there is called caffeic acid, which forms when the coffee is roasted. And they proved that it's not from the caffeine because it shows up no matter how fast your body burns caffeine. So like, everybody metabolizes caffeine at a different rate. Like, some people, you'll hear them, they're like, oh, if I have any, they'll be like noon. Oh, if I have any caffeine now, I'll be up all night. I'm like, son of a bitch, dude. I can drink like 4 cups of coffee at 10 o'clock and go to bed at 10:02. And I go right to sleep. I have no issues. I might have to get up to pee. But so everybody metabolizes it at different rates. Either way, the Alzheimer's benefit showed up no matter how fast in the testing that they did. So they concluded it's the polyphenols doing the work. But since I'm cutting caffeine, I looked into, does decaf still give you the same benefits? Turns out it keeps 90 to 95% of the polyphenols, okay? Which means you get 90 to 95% of the benefit. Even if you don't want caffeine in your life, it might be a good idea to have decaf coffee. And I know a lot of people don't like the flavor of coffee. I think you're crazy because it's amazing. But I also put heavy cream in it and stevia, so it's like, it's delicious anyway. It's like grown-up hot chocolate. But apparently, if you get decaffeinated coffee, the Swiss water process is the best, or CO2 decaf, like it should say it on the bag. But I don't know. I've bought decaf a few times, and I don't ever remember seeing anything written on it. But also, I was just getting like normal coffee. If you can't find the Swiss water process or the CO2 decaf, I would say get whatever the best decaf is that you can get, or that you can afford, or whatever it is from wherever you get decaf from, and you'll still be getting some kind of benefit, which is better than no benefit. Minus whatever, if you have leaky gut or autoimmune issues or something like that, and you shouldn't be drinking caffeine, or shouldn't be drinking coffee, which is a lot of people that drink coffee. But that's a different topic. Basically, if you have coffee, all the time, you're getting some kind of benefit. But the caffeine, there's a lot of negatives that can come with caffeine, especially if you're doing too much of it. And kind of my theory with caffeine is that a lot of people will do, 1 cup in the morning, which is kind of the best as long as you've been awake for an hour or two, something like that. But those same people, I always see them yawning at 1, 2 o'clock anyway. Like, they're just yawning there for probably like a half an hour, an hour before they kind of get their second wind. And there's been plenty of times when I cut caffeine in my life, and you don't get that same trough in the mid-afternoon, So I think having 0 caffeine, overall, your energy levels, provided your sleep hygiene and all that stuff is good, and your diet is good, and you're kind of dialed in most of the areas. And when we're not, that's why we depend on caffeine, until you get on the vicious cycle of too much caffeine, and then you literally, no matter how good all your other things are, you still need the caffeine multiple times a day, which is where I was at. It was just a slow edging up of caffeine. But if you do decaf, you keep your morning ritual, which is all I'm really concerned with anyway, because I like to, in the morning, make my coffee. I take a whole bunch of supplement powders and things like that. I kind of weigh them out in the morning. And it's just something that I do in the morning. So, I don't know. And in the, I live in like around Cleveland, Ohio. So 6-7 months out of the year, it's like cold in the morning. So it's nice to wake up and have like a warm thing or a hot thing, or it's just something nice to wake up to. It smells good, in my opinion anyway. But it's the polyphenols, it's not the coffee. So you can still do some positive things for your brain, possibly help yourself, protect yourself from the Alzheimer's risk, because of all the things that's in our environment now. I think there's a lot of things that tend to build up in our brain, and there's some things that are naturally in our diet that can help protect us. It's the same kind of idea with when people talk about, different antioxidants that are in vegetables and things like that. It's just, there's things that are naturally in different things that help protect us. And this is one of the ones. Yeah, if you've never tried decaf, I've had it a good bit of times. It tastes like 95% like real coffee. The kind that I got, I feel like was always kind of on the cheaper side, because I would just get a bag of pre-ground, like whatever, like usually I feel like from Target, something like that. It had maybe a slight burn taste to it, but when it was like 5 o'clock and I didn't want to eat food and I didn't want to have like an actual cup of coffee, I would often have a cup of decaf coffee, because I still put the heavy cream in it, so I'm getting like a fat, so I'm getting like some satiation. I think I got it. I'm being somewhat satisfied, and there was no caffeine in it, and it was still like a 9 out of 10, as good as normal coffee. So if you haven't tried it, try it. Let me know.